The NWA bringing Hard Times, or rather Hard Times 3, to New Orleans, November 12th at the Frederick J. Segur Civic Center in New Orleans. They're also doing Revolution Rumble alongside Wildcat Sports on November 13th. Get your tickets, nwatix.com. One of the men that will figure prominently in that show joins me now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. One of our dear favorites. We loved him in Ring of Honor, and now he's getting a shot at the NWA, getting a shot at the National Heavyweight Championship. We'll talk about that here in a second. Dak Draper. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Mile High Magnum. Dak, it's good to connect with you, man.
Hey, Stu, it's great to hear from you too, man.
Before we get to the wrestling, dude, you're a Denver guy. What's wrong with your Broncos?
Oh my God.
I mean, 2-4. They lost the last 3. They're heading to they're playing the Jets this Sunday. Which, and look, one of their star receivers, Garrett Wilson, is from here in Austin. In fact, I covered him in high school. And he is a legit star. I mean, he was one of the best high school wide receivers we had seen in my many, many years on high school football. And he showed that at Ohio State and now showing it with the Jets. So, but dude, Russell Wilson just can't find that mojo there.
I think it's got to start with the coaching. Training camp was so easy on the Denver sports radio stations. They were calling it training glamp. It's a lot of new age, give you a hug and everything's going to be easy kind of stuff. So, and I haven't played football at even close to a professional level, but it just does not seem like a successful training camps are run that way. And so it's been very frustrating to watch as a lifelong Broncos fan, but especially after Super Bowl 50. I'm so tired of field goals. It's always field goals, always field goals. I'm so sick of field goals.
Believe me, as a lifelong Cowboys fan, I can feel your pain. We went through that quite a bit. Hopefully this year might be a turn, especially getting Dak back after his thumb injury. Things are starting to look at least a little rosier, especially with that defense that the Cowboys have. It's been crazy. So we'll see what the Broncos can do the rest of the season. Let's get some wrestling. As I said, we got to know you when you were in Ring of Honor. Sadly, they had to shut down end of 2021. Go back to that time, and what was like your first clue that things were going to go the way they did in ROH?
Oh, I was pretty surprised. We got on the Zoom call that day, and the demeanor seemed different. And then we're losing our jobs at some point in this call. But that was kind of my first thing. I didn't realize there was a reason to be worried. Maybe I should have been paying better attention. I realized there was a reason to be worried until we were on the call. And then you could kind of tell, by the demeanor, this is not be a good call.
Of course, Tony Khan buys them back in the spring. At least we're hearing there might be a TV deal somewhere, down the road. We'll see what happens. Let me ask you this: how has your 2022 been? Because so the Ring of Honor contract ended. Yours ended in December or March?
I don't even remember now. I think March.
Okay, so how's your 2022 been? Because of course, you've been active on the indies as well. Of course, now you found your way into the NWA. But give me kind of your assessment of 2022 so far as we're, in mid-October.
2022 was definitely a year to focus on myself and kind of focus on getting myself back on track with some things that I wanted to. I feel like I got really involved more in the Midwest again in Central States Wrestling, where I have a very prominent role there. So I'm going back to Central States Wrestling almost every month. And then it's funny, I moved to Florida. I don't do much wrestling around Florida. I've been going back to First Wrestling a little bit up to the upper Midwest, which has been nice. And then gone up to I was most recently in Pittsburgh for the Super Indy. I was part of the Super Indy tournament, went to the semifinals in that. So it's been a year of almost reinventing and new opportunities too, kind of reaching out to new places and kind of branching into new places.
Well, listen, I do commentary for a promotion here in Austin called Inspire After Death, and I'll mention it to Biss. I think we need to bring you down to Texas and have you do
Appreciate
a few
that.
dates. What, as I say, you found your way into the NWA. What brought you to the NWA, and how did that process transpire?
It was just it was one of those things where I was actually at a show up in Wisconsin, and I got a text, and it was and asking me to if I was available for these NWA dates. And from there, it went to the national tournament. And it was it's funny, 4 weeks before the national tournament, I broke my wrist on a show. And I didn't want anyone to know because I didn't want to get pulled from the tournament. And so I taped my wrist up really good, but not too good to be found out. And my wrist is fine now; it is healed. But I was hiding a broken wrist in that tournament, so it was there was a lot to overcome.
Right, right. Well, I mean, glad you found your way to the NWA. And especially because NWA, they've been, since they've been owned by Billy Corgan, they've really towed that line where they respect and understand the history and those fans, kind of like my age and the ones that have been with them for decades, but at the same time they understand attracting new fans, kind of bringing the newness into the NWA. Just talk about that atmosphere of being in that promotion, a promotion that has 70 plus years of history, and you being a part of that in the present day.
It's cool because the NWA officials have name recognition, name value. And so when you tell people that, like, especially like people think like, oh, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, it has that familiarity. So when I tell people, oh yeah, I'm doing something for NWA, it rings a bell. And that's really nice because I don't know, I haven't always had that in my life. And so that's the big thing, is the name recognition and kind of like that trusted, 70 plus year standard of the in-ring excellence.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, they'll be next year 75 years in existence. Just amazing. At Hard Times in New Orleans, you're challenging for the NWA National Heavyweight Championship. That is one of those historic titles. You mentioned Dusty Rhodes held it. Tully Blanchard, Buddy Landell, Wahoo McDaniel. What would it mean to you and your career should you be successful and capture such a historic title like the National Heavyweight Championship?
For me, it would mean that everything that I overcame coming into this tournament, where I kind of felt like my career had been at least 22 had been slower for me than 2021. And I feel like I'd been kind of trudging through it, and I've been pulling myself forward, and I break my wrist right before the tournament. I have some other personal setbacks too, and I overcome all that going into the tournament, where facing Jack Stane, he was the incumbent champion until the night before at the 74th anniversary pay-per-view. Facing him, managing to make it to the second round, upsetting Brian Myers, and then making it through Chris Adonis, who's a guy that I watched on TV like not long ago, but before I was a wrestler, before I'd ever set foot in a ring, Chris Adonis is a guy who I looked up to before I ever had seen wrestling from the other side of the ropes. And Thrillbilly Silas, who is, people don't realize, Thrillbilly Silas is the size of like an NFL linebacker. He's huge.
Right.
But being able to go through those guys and being able to come everything I've overcome, it's all for nothing if I don't win the national title, because I call myself the living tall tale, because my career is playing out like a story, and a story has great parts, but a story also has sad parts. And for this story to keep playing out and to continue with the momentum that I needed to continue with, I have to win this title. So it means the world to me, especially having Austin Idol, the first national champion, in the corner of Sion. Like, that would feel so good for me, and for my confidence to overcome all of that in order to become the national champion. That means the world to me, and that's what I'm 100% focused on.
Yeah, I could imagine. So you going through Jack Stane. Look, we know Jack Stane really well here We worked with him when he was the world champion, and so we know how tough he is, and to go through all that, amazing. Speaking of the current champion Scion, give me your scouting report on him. What is it? What is it that you see in him that that you will need to overcome to become the NWA National Heavyweight Champion?
Well, Scion has a ton of experience. He's been around forever. He's got a ton of experience, a ton of know-how. Also, he's pretty well versed in different styles of wrestling too. So he's pretty versatile. He can adapt quickly. The thing is, Scion's coming off of that ankle injury, and so as a former collegiate wrestler and a lifelong amateur wrestler, I know the best way to make someone to amplify someone's ankle injury is you pick up their other leg. You pick up their good leg, so they've got to hop on their bad legs. So you can look for me to be trying to get Scion on one leg, him hopping, and just to get him to put more extra miles on that ankle. And we'll see how it feels. See how his recovery's gone in the time between when he injured it and when we face off in New Orleans.
Yeah, imagine. By the way, before I let you go, I saw a cat jump up. Introduce us to your feline friend.
Oh, we have Cat Draper. So Cat Draper is 3 years old now, and sometimes goes missing because he'll be in jail or he gets in trouble with the homeowners association and stuff like that. He's got a flip mouth and a bad attitude, but I love him anyway for it because I'm such a great person.
Of course.
And of course, when the time comes, Cat Draper, hey, you want a treat? We also have a fat little bulldog here. You got a treat? Come here. Come inside. You want a treat? Oh, here you go. Get up here. Get up here. Now you gotta get back. Get up here for the treat. There you go.
There he is.
This is Cat Draper, the tortoiseshell cat. He could take out a mountain lion if he wanted to, but he chooses not to. Chooses to be an indoor cat.
Okay.
Stare at the windows like a gossipy old lady.
Right. Okay. All right. Very nice. Very nice. It's NWA Hard Times 3 coming up November 12th, and then Revolution Rumble with Wildcat Sports on November 13th. Both events coming from the Frederick J. Seeger Civic Center in New Orleans. Check it out if you want tickets. NWATIX.com. If you want to watch it on Fight TV. He is Dak Draper. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Mile High Magnum. Dak, man, I always love chatting with you. You're one of my favorites. I wish you all success in the world. I gotta admit, I'll be rooting for you a little bit on November 12th, man. But enjoy New Orleans, one of my favorite cities. All the best to you, and we'll talk again soon.
Oh, thank you so much. I will definitely enjoy New Orleans, and any not cheering for Dak Draper, then shame on you.
Thanks, Dak.
Hey, thanks, Stu.